G'day guys, and welcome to our review of Rosehill from the 29th of July. Rather than the true position, definitely hard to run on the day. There were a couple of races where there were some fast run races and you were able to make ground, but it was very difficult to sit wide and win. The only horse that did it was Prada missing the highway race. Otherwise you wanted to be saving ground and getting a couple off that fence and in the straight, pretty similar to a normal Rosehill track. First race of the day for the 2-year-olds. Saw a heavily back favourite in D'Argento going around. It looked to be the horse to beat, but obviously with Regal Cannon, the stablemate to the other leader in Runaway, coming out, it changed the complexion of the race a bit, and they still looked to run even time, or did run even time, but the tempo certainly wasn't as fast as first expected with that stablemate coming out. So it was a good win from D'Argento, stepping up from the 1200 metres of its first start to 1500, lobbed in a good position midfield, but still wasn't easy to run on from that sort of spot during the day. I did think the main danger was this horse All Too Soon, which ended up on the back of the winner, but did over race a bit and race tired and will go for a spell. Pretty much most other runners in the race had their chance. Hostwin Meraki sat outside the leader first time it's raced on pace and without cover. Did come back a little bit late, so not a bad effort. Almighty obviously obs in the absolute perfect spot and battles away well. Condor gets to the outside and whacks away. It's going just okay for mine, and nothing else really transpired of any note. The leader definitely has a chance with Almighty that runs third. D'Argento's got the tougher run of the three and finds the line well, rising in distance. Hostwin Meraki does get beaten off pretty early in the straight and does look to be under pressure, does kick back a bit late and shows a bit of intestinal. I'll be forgiving All Too Soon completely this run, just forgetting it and worrying about it next preparation. It's a nice horse. Colesberg, not a bad effort, but did save a bit of ground through the middle, but promising signs for it going forward. It does look to at least be on the up this preparation, as that does look a decent enough race. Almighty probably the one that is flattered in the race, holding on for third after having the absolute perfect run in transit. Not a lot to be learnt there really. Race 2 even tempo but a fast time, so they've run along and just kept going here. Always did look the danger that the Ampania would want to try and lead on wider claim. It's obviously done its best work there, but clearly the Beach is just a much faster horse, and she's given that wider claim the dig, and it's got running on her and probably cost her any chance of winning the race, and probably running a place. Does run a solid race after, as you'll see here, over racing pretty heavily in the run and pressuring the leader unnecessarily. Second horse, difficult to get, is a better on pacer, but ridden off the pace here because of where it drew. Does a good, is a strong effort to run second. He's hard fit. Rockefeller dragged out of the race early. Is not a bad effort. Quantrill inside the horse here. Bled. Akasaki gets the perfect run. Probably just wants to drop back in grade for mine to be really competitive and winning. I think that Wednesday grade's his go. The winner's the best horse in the race for mine. Softened up, led, taken on, little bump there, kicks away. This is his go, 1100 at Rosehill. I really think that's his ideal effort, and I've heard that he was going for a spell after this, but he's done his job this preparation. You see Rockefeller warming up late down the outside there in Dado Tan. Jim Nan's colours did look to really knock up that last 50 to 100, so he looked in need of that run, and is a horse that can definitely improve into its preparation off a fast run, even tempoed race. And the other horse we'll see battling on okay was Wider Claim, who definitely does look like it needs to find the lead in a race to do its best. Race 3. Softish tempo here, which kind of wasn't expected, but did leave plenty in the locker for Arbit Sam, who took off nice and early. Time pretty good considering it's a slow tempo, and really ran a fast last sections, which made it impossible here. It looks like it's stretching them out, but really not doing a lot. The Pharaoh getting the perfect run on its back. The favourite, who's a late blower out of the favouritism, actually is Insensata. Basically no chance given the tempo. I was surprised that Reach for Heaven didn't kick up a bit more. It did look like it could hold a more forward position comfortably on the fence, and sort of hung back there and over-raced and looked uncomfortable. Makes a dash and just peaks late. Probably a forgive run considering the tempo. Is going well for mine. All these horses that come wide are forgive efforts. Star of Monsoon, ridden back last run's a really good race, considering how well Insensata's going, and this is a 14, 15 start maiden now, whatever it is. It's incredible that he just can't crack for a win, but that definitely showed that he's better ridden that way, I'd say. Cosmic Engine solid, Janot solid, Virilio solid, Pharaoh solid, but they've all had their chance really, considering the tempo, and Arbit Sam dropping back from 18 to 1400 was just too strong for them. I don't think it's going to be a bad form race going forward, and I'd be forgiving just about every runner in this race that finishes behind the leader. They're all going well enough to win races in their right grade. Race 4, Highway, don't want to spend too much time on this. Fast tempo, winner sits 4 and 5 wide, no cover. The forgive horse is probably this Bunny Bad Girl, who was stepping up to a big, just like a trip that it hadn't seen before. Outside leader, ends up in front on a fast tempo. He's given no real chance. The other horse that we'll show early is Nick's Vendetta, who ends up outside leader on a fast tempo and over racing. Kicks away and battles all run okay. But we'll see this horse here in Prada Miss, who sits wide, no cover throughout. Caesar's Ghost runs third, sits on its back. And My Tagasan inside it. Didn't think My Tagasan ever really got a chance to let go, but considering the tempo, it still probably had its chance here, and that the winner sat wide, no cover. We'll see here, this Caesar's Ghost kind of lays on top of his laying out, and they just never really get going. Chidana in here is a bit unlucky, but don't want to... I should have finished closer, there's no doubt about that. You see late it gets going okay, but it's that kind of horse. And the winner's just clearly the best horse, I'd say here. It just sits 3 and 4 wide on a fast tempo and runs away from them strong to the lines. Hard to find excuses for the beaten brigade. Nick's Vendetta and Bunny Bad Girl, the ones that were forgives up on the fast tempo. Just be careful with Chandana that it was maybe looked a little bit flattered. It is going okay, and the race is not too bad, so I don't want to be too severe on it, but just be careful not to overplay. It's checked and blocked in the straight there, and My Tagasan can go back in to country grade and probably win a race, but I can't see him being too big a value. Race 5, solid tempo, fast tempo, solid time here. Really strange race, some really strange rides. The winner was probably not every chance. We'll have a look at it. There's a few things against it. The second horse is the one who sets a fast tempo and battles on well. The third horse is not every chance. The fourth horse, not every chance. Vienna Romance gets back and checked, but runs home well. Alluvian ridden stone cold again over an unsuitable distance with the big weight, runs well. I'm Imogen runs well considering the ride it got. I thought Firen was a good effort with not much luck up in grade. I think this will be a pretty good form race, and we'll have a good look at it. So first of all, we'll see I'm Imogen goes back, which is the kind of strange thing. Alluvian obviously has P2 and looked like it might go forward today, but went back. This is Faith's Encore that ends up back. Slumber Party holds the front. Second step ends up outside it. We'll see that the winner here is Suspenders in the red colours gets a really solid dig out, and then something I just have trouble with Christian Reef is that he digs them out and then grabs hold of them and causes a lot of issues to the horses and his horse and horses around him. They get over racing. So where he is here, you'll see him here riding this horse out into a positive position. As soon as he gets there, he looks over his shoulder and grabs hold. And you see here he grabs hold, the horse gets fighting him, he runs over Pandaya and Fire and ends up in a tough spot as well. And Second Step ends up crossing him. See here, it's another strange thing. I can't work out why. Got a short price favourite here in Slumber Party, but for whatever reason didn't want to be in behind the leader here on Suspenders, which was obviously the best place to be on the day. He sits sort of three lengths further back than he needs to, and you can see the horse over racing and looks like it's nearly checking off heels. It's going that well rather than being here and bolting. He's there and in a bit of trouble. We'll just have a look at Suspenders in isolation first up here. So rather than being behind the leader and either waiting for this run and peeling to the outside or going to the inside, he's probably cost the horse about 3 lengths, or has had to make an extra 3 lengths up off a fast tempo after being ridden out, sprints off that and then just whacks away really late, but he's totally entitled to get tired considering the run it's had. Pretty good effort. The horse is obviously peaking on the day and it was a really strong effort. We'll go back and have a look at a few other runners here. So Second Step, after having to work, does a decent effort. I think it has to go back in trip. His horse Fire Rain, coming up from a maiden, was also shuffled back from that interference from Suspenders pulling up. I didn't think its effort was too bad. I don't think it's really suited straight up to this grade second start in a race. So it's really put a strong effort in. Alluvian just outside of you. You see it running on late. Second up 1200 cannot have suited it, so it's put in a nice little effort. Face Encore would have appreciated that fast tempo running on well, and I'm Imogen. I'm not really sure what went on there. We'll see where it is here in the run after being jagged out of the race early for whatever reason. Just keeps getting pushed wide. You see it's checked out of the race there and probably cost it 2 lengths in momentum. Face Encore's not a bad horse and it's kind of come with it late, so it's dead set flying on Imogen, there's no doubt about that. 1100, 1200 should be okay now, and back a grade or back leading, which looks its go. It looks a fast horse, doesn't look a sit and sprint horse. So just summing that race up, I think there's a bit to follow out of that. I think Suspenders is going well. I'm not sure what it'll do, but a similar sort of race is definitely okay. Slumber Party can be fitter and can't knock its run. Face Encore is the one that's just got issues jumping and getting back out of its ground, and I'm a little bit worried about it, but it has run a good race there. Second Step, solid. Miss Parkin's solid after sitting outside the leader, and she's right there till very late. Alluvian's ready to go now. I think 1100 or 1000 next time out, and it can cause some nightmares. And Firing back to its grade, and Imogen back to its grade, can both run very well. I think this is another good form race. $2,000 race here. Vaucluse Bay actually looks really good late. I didn't kind of missed it on the day, and it was only watching the replays. It was its last 50 metres. It looks good. It's amazing how Waller can get these horses to improve through their preparations and just continue getting better as they go on. Obviously, this horse has now had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a trial this preparation, and it's only really hitting its straps now. You see, it's kind of was hovering around sort of decent runs, and then its last 2 have been very good. Obviously, the slow tempo here will knock down any sort of rating kind of thing from a times perspective, but you can sort of adjust that yourself. It was nice and dominant late here. They were going slow, which was suiting the ones up front, especially Life O'Brien. Magic More Than Fabulous has had the perfect sit, and then Ashcan's rushed around and caused a bit of a mid-race move, which has opened up a bit of a gap for Vaucluse Bay, but I don't think it really mattered the way it's won at the end of the day. A couple of funny ones here. I thought Magical Stance might roll forward with a slow tempo. They decided to jag back, and he says that the toughest run of all time back here in the field, just never gets comfortable, and it's wide, no cover throughout. Life O'Brien heads to the front as expected. More Than Fabulous outside the leader and travelling strongly. We'll see Ashcan back in here, a bit of a tricky horse. Eventually whips around and gives cover to More Than Fabulous. See Magical Stance out here over racing a touch and wide, no cover. It just gets worse and worse for him. He gets checked here by Ashcan, and eventually Ashcan takes off. Here it comes. Magical Stance still wide and last, behind a really slow tempo. They pick it up here, but not diabolically, and then they sprint home. More Than Fabulous has always had a nice little turn of foot on it. Vaucluse Bay going well. Magical Stance and Go Benny down the outside, both going quite well also. And Costa Lima's also checked here when trying to get a run inside of Magical Stance, and it looked to forgive effort too, with a decent break between runs before this. So it's a horse that can improve. Magical Stance can always improve. Back to a mile at Randwick would be great. Rider change would be exceptional. Don't think it'll happen. Go Benny racing well, back to its grade, or a drop from this grade. It can win again. Look at this, what this winner does late off a slow tempo is really impressive. I really like its last 100 metres, sort of how it goes into overdrive here. It's only 2 in front there with a 2-length gap. They're obviously closing a touch on these, but not really, and it's just running away from them through the line. So it's found another gear, Vaucluse Bay. I remember getting it beat in a Hawkesbury race not long ago that you wouldn't believe it could get beat in, but I think it was Hawkesbury. Yeah, Hawkesbury race here where it couldn't beat Wildflower, and it's just gone to another level since then. So well done, Chris Waller. Highlight race of the day, or feature race of the day, listed race over the mile. Sorry, 1500. Slow tempo, slow time. Not a lot to report really. Go through it quickly. Probably if he had his time over again, Timmy Clark could take off a bit earlier on Classic Uniform and drag the sprint out of Shiraz. Shiraz has just had that suck run and sprinted for a furlong, which is what it likes to do, and won the race. Slightly Sweet was very unlucky, held up in between runners. Obviously going very well, the horse. Salt Swing, not too bad. I didn't mind the ride. It sort of just got over racing a bit, but I just think it had to push forward to have any chance, and did that and battled away. The horse that looks to be going really well for mine's Very Delicious, but does need a wet track and run-on conditions, so probably a bit of rain and Randwick would suit her. She seems to be holding her form like the rest of her stable mates from the Coil Yard. They're all going well. So they're lobbing their positions early. Salt and Swing just gets up and over racing a bit, doesn't really affect the leader. Just think Collett was patient enough here, not coming to the outside and waiting. Ridden this horse very well to its pattern. Holding Slightly Sweet out didn't hurt its chances either, but that's all he's got. He's got that short dash. If Classic Uniform sees him an extra 50 metres earlier, probably fights back and beats him. If he takes off 100 metres earlier, he probably gets beat as well, Collett, because he sees him anyway. Didn't mind the run of this Very Delicious right down the outside. She seems to be holding her form nicely and had everything against her here. Solid enough effort. The first 4 across the line I think are going well enough to win. Again, the horse I'd like to risk out of the 4 of them is definitely the winner. I think Classic Uniform up to 1800 next start, and net hard fit then and rolling along. I think he's going as well as he ever has in his life, and a little bit of rain would help him too. A sit for Sultan's Swing would help him, and Slightly Sweet's obviously going really well. Very Delicious, a nice little wet track, and And even this run here from Snippets Land wasn't too bad. I think this race is not too bad. This is the worst race of the day. Slow tempo, very slow tempo, and they don't really exactly rush home. The winner was a bit lucky to get the protest for mine. I thought it deserved to be promoted considering the interference, but I thought the interference probably won at the race. I don't think they would have found the way through and won the race if it had the running that was taken away from it, got pushed out into a gap that sort of allowed it to get a bit of clean air and run well. It's a funny race, this. Just looks weak all around. I thought More to Gain, every possible look the winner, and may have just knocked up. Not exactly the most vigorous ride you'll ever see also, but was first up and possibly just looking after it. Probably looking to sack a couple of horses here in Zara Bay and Suspense. I thought they had their chance up on the speed and were really weak late. I don't think either of them are going as well as they have in the past. Mogador similarly has its chance and was a bit soft. Heady Heights against the slow tempo sprinted hard and just knocked up. It's another horse with that short dash. Probably next time out's its absolute last chance. Not last chance, but D-Day. It looks like it'll be peaking fitness-wise and everything. Next time, run-on conditions will suit it. I think the lack of depth in this race was demonstrated by the amount of trouble that Wild and Famous found, but still find a way to win the race. Obviously lost it on protest later, but bit of a concern for mine that it's actually won the race. And Most Exalted's probably the one horse with a lot of upside that doesn't look suited over 1350 and is flying for the new stableable. I believe it's Mac Griffith. So, Picnic in front, Zara Bay, all these horses. More to Gain here. The eventual winner, second last. Heady Heights here. Embley's a forgive run. Mogador in on the fence. So for me here, I thought the race was over. I thought More to Gain was just going to pick them up. Heady Heights out sprints it down the outside before knocking up. You'll see the eventual winner after the protest here gets checked out of this run and eventually comes down the outside and wins. Wild and Famous is the winner across the line, but doesn't loses it in the room. This is Embley that comes home late after not having a lot of luck and getting too far out of its ground against a really slow tempo. So I don't think that there was really ever going to be a run there for Most Exalted, but he just ends up getting this gap and it all works out for him and he darts home. He's very lucky to beat Heady Heights for second, actually, so I'm not sure how it did. It's a bit grainy, that footage, but it was lucky to get should have won the race, there's no doubt about that, but a little bit lucky to get the decision at the end of the day. Ugly race, looking to be negative on horses here rather than positive. Neutral on the winner because it's got upside and it's racing exceptionally well, had the pace against it and finished off strongest. A little bit worried about Heady Heights and where to go with her. More to Gain first up, forgive it, we're calling it a barrier trial just because it was first up. Lucky last. Philosophy wins. Fast tempo, timed only okay. Woke probably should have won, just poor option before the turn, probably cost it the race. Allura comes from last and runs on okay down the outside. Wang Wah runs home from a similar position up the inside. Long Time Ago's a funny run here, takes a sit, loses the turn and then does look to be coming again on the line. Every possible chance, Girls Sunday, even though it sat behind the leader on a fastish tempo. Queen Misty didn't look to have every chance and whacks away here, and I thought the forgive run was definitely it, so obvious. Racing still out of its grade here and chases a fast tempo after being drawn a wide gate here, so it ends up outside the leader in a second and over racing a touch after taking a while to get there. So here it's still working forward. The two first and second horses in the race have got that nice little trailing position in here. The third horse is back towards the end of the pack. See, Long Time Ago kind of lugs off the track here, and I'm not sure. Abdullah must have just committed to the run to the outside of Long Time Ago just wasn't quite patient enough here where he probably could have afforded to be. He's obviously got plenty of horse under him, and instead of just waiting and taking this inside run here, he presents the inside run to Philosophy, who had no run at this point and cost himself a bit of ground. So instead of Philosophy being trapped in behind here and Awoke taking this run, it's had to come around the heels of a long time ago. It's also given Philosophy a bit of a head start and momentum, and he just fails to pick it up on Awoke. See, Lani Girl has no luck here, looks a bit of a forgive. Allura down the outside, Queen Misty down the outside, a long time ago. Funny looks dropping out there, loses its balance, and then comes again late. It's a funny one. Wang Hua definitely flattered, as was Allura. Funny little race that I can't be too confident the form's going to be too strong out of, unless there's a bit of a dramatic change in class or distance or something like that. You'd want these horses to be finding different conditions to improve significantly. Awoke kind of was only second up, so maybe it's ready to do something, but pretty funky race for mine that I'm not looking to challenge, to find too much out of. I probably just want to be against Allura and Wang Hua a touch, because they were pace assisted, and the overall times aren't that great, but you've still got to be careful because there was a bit of an on-pace-ish bias on the day. So that's a look at the day. I just want to thank everyone who's been watching these videos and also been on trial. We've had some good results, which has been pretty lucky. That all changes from this Tuesday, so all these videos and things will be made private and be only available to website subscribers. Just to be fair, they're the ones paying for the information, so it'll be kept to them. I'll still do some interesting things. I'll include in this email, looking to do something with Paul Daly from Ratings to Win, and we need some questions from guys. We want to make it a bit more informational and educational, so we'll be looking for topics to cover in that, and you'll hear plenty more from me. Anything you ever need, email me, john@racingwatch.com.au, and always available. Thanks, guys.